Assalamualaikum. Good morning, class 7. This is your teacher Matiha. Today we will be looking at unit number 7. The topic is water. It's on page number 174 and the subtitle under the subtitle at the end of our weather. It's a part of a newspaper article, so we will be looking at the aims and objectives of today's lesson and what we are going to do. So I hope that you are ready. Please take out your books. We are going to study the newspaper article on page number 174. Okay, the aims and objectives of today's lesson is to identify the parts of the newspaper article through a web organizer and then draw out main ideas of the text, page number 174, 175. We will be reading the text and we will be taking out main ideas from the text. Identify meanings of the words and phrasing using contextual clues. Alright, class 7. Before we start reading the text, let's see what is the newspaper article is all about and how it is formed. There are actually 5 parts of the newspaper article. So you can see on your right hand side, I have chosen the one that is already given in our book at the end under the subtitle at the end of our word weather. So this is the article title and it is written by Mark Linus. The author name is also given with a lead paragraph is paragraph number 1 where it gives initial information about what are we going to read and what is it all about. Then supporting paragraphs are given which gives additional information about the article title. So if you can look on your left hand side, I have chosen one piece from the one you can say specimen or a sample from the newspaper. So newspaper title is given, then publication date, article title, page number and author. So it's very important for you as to remember how the newspaper article is formatted. It has 5 parts and in the next slides we are going to look at the 5 parts. Now if you can see over here the headline is given. It is a short attention getting a statement about the event, and then the byline means the author, this tells who wrote the story. Lead paragraph, as you can see in our last slide, we have given paragraph number 1. This is all of who, what, when, where, why and how in it. A writer must find the answers to these questions and write them into the opening sentences of the article. Now explanations are the other supporting paragraphs, or you can say additional details. After the lead paragraph has been written, the writer must decide what are the facts and details the reader might want to know. So the writer in a way makes sure that it has enough information for the reader, for the audience to be given. So if there are any queries, the answer might be in those leading paragraphs. Additional information means that this information is the least important. Thus, if the news article is too long for the space it needs to fill, it can be shortened without rewriting to another part. So this part can include information about a similar event. So additional information is also given, but it is a kind of not an explanation but adding on to the one we have already read. So I think now you know about newspaper article. That newspaper article has 5 parts. First part is yes, the headline, and the second part is yes, byline, and the third lead paragraph, yes. What is the fourth one? Good, explanation. And the last one is yes. Okay, now let's see what is ahead of us. Okay, today we are going to read a news report by Mark Linus, who had traveled the world for 3 years in search of climate change. And in this powerful journal over here, he describes a planet where global warming is not a distant prospect, it is here and now. And we are going to talk about Tuvalu. Now the word is Tuvalu, okay, and it's in South Pacific. It's a range of islands as you can see in the picture over here, and the total inhabitant of these islands are 10,000. Now these are also called the sinking islands because the sea levels are rising, and because of the raise of the sea levels, all these kind of islands, and similar to these islands in Maldives, these islands are going to be sunk, going to lose their place in the world or on the map of the world after a decade. And it has been scientifically proven that due to global warming and the rise of the sea levels, by the end of this century, these islands will be no more on the map of the world. So it's a very concerning, it's a very, you can say, a drastic situation. Where will the people go and what will happen to them? So we'll see how the author is going to take up this finding or take up this information and pass it on to the readers. All right, class. Now take out page number 174. So we'll be looking at the main points of the lesson from paragraph 1 to 10 from page 174 to 175. So in this lesson, Mark Lance, with his 3-year research for climate change, comes to a conclusion about some islands in Peru, South America, and these islands are like you can say a cluster of islands makes a country, and the name of the country is Tuvalu. So he was with his during Christmas with his family, and they were looking through pictures on the slide projector, reliving memories of Peru. Peru is a small country in South America, and he was always mesmerized by the beauty of the glaciers that routed Jucamba Valley. Jucamba Valley was where he was settled with his family when he was 5 years old, and he was always mesmerized by the beautiful scenery and how it may not last long. So at the very early age, he was not interested in rocks or geology, but he was interested in the scenic beauty. But looking at the pictures of his childhood, and now looking or seeing from another angle from an eye of the global warming, that global warming is kind of affecting our environment so drastically. So he's kind of in a fix, or he is thinking whether this beauty is going to, the beauty of the glaciers is going to last for long or not. So another point in paragraph number 5 is 4 and 5 is about global warming, and it is a threat which seems impossible to prevent, because it's a challenge which needs to be mitigated, because as more people are very much concerned about global warming, but some of them or the world leaders do not want to take this point or this idea seriously. And then another point is his father thought that the beauty would last forever. His father was of this thought, of this idea, that the beauty of the glaciers would not go away, because glaciers need hundreds and thousands of years to melt. But due to global warming and the rise in the temperature, this beauty is fading away. So, but his father was not ready to buy this idea. So Mark, in his journey, he kind of goes to find the effects of the global warming. Either this threat is there, it's very much, you can say, evident, and the distress call of people and their struggle to cure it, and the distress call of people of Tuvalu and their struggle to cure it. They wanted to, the world leaders in the world as to come and for their rescue, and not only for their rescue, but for the rescue of their own people as well. And then they talk about the submergence of Tuvalu and its fragile survival, how the islands of Tuvalu, as I've told you before, the sinking islands, they are kind of shifting, or they are losing their mark from the map of the world, and how the survival is becoming weak day after day. And then we are also going to learn about how the world leaders and the scientists have kind of declared the end game for Tuvalu, and people of the Tuvalu need to migrate from their country as to find survival. And the evacuation, next point is evacuation of the Tuvalu has begun because it will lose its place on the world map after this century. But there are people who have the love for their country and who do not want to go away from it. They are the pioneers. They are the you can say the people who are very much who have feelings, memories, and association with their country, who are the true countrymen, and they don't want to sync with this country, do not want to leave. And then they are also going to talk about the consequences of industrialized countries on the world, how countries, developing countries and the developed countries are making progress at the stake of, or you can say at the stake of other countries as well, smaller countries as well, how these countries, smaller countries, have to pay the price of their own survival as to make the other countries rich. So the rich is becoming more richer and the poor is becoming more poorer. And lastly, Tuvalu seeks justice from the world, and it's asking for their survival, for their migration, and for their own community as well, and for the world as well, as to wake up and wake up to that call of global warming and give them justice. Alright class, on page number 174, we'll start the newspaper, reading the newspaper article, and I will, with the reading, I will explain paragraphs. So the newspaper article at the end of our weather, written by Mark Lyons. In paragraph number 1, he says that it was Christmas time 3 years ago, and he was with his family, with his parents, on their farm, small farm in Langby, which is in North Wales, and it was a kind of a custom during the Christmas time as to settle down and to run over a slide projector or to look at the you can say memories or pictures of their young when they were young, and it was a complex negotiation between the family as to choose which slides to run or which pictures to look. So they all settled down as to look at the pictures from Peru, when from the 1979 memories, where his father was an overseas where his father was on a geological posting because he was a scientist, and he took all of them to Lima for 3 years, and the Mark was only 5 years old, but he still remembers every moment of his journey or the stay over there. So in paragraph number 2, so he says that it was on his instance that the slideshow began with my father's photo from Jacamba. Jacamba is a lonely and remote Andean valley where his expedition had pitched up for a month or so in 1980. So his family stayed over there for a long period of time because of his father's expedition to study the rocks. And Mark was not interested in rocks. It was the glacier that caught his eyes because he was always fascinated by the scenic beauty. So he in his memory, the pristine shimmering snowfield, the tall Jacamba Valley, because where is Jacamba Valley? It is in the Cordillera Blanca, Peru's. Jacamba Valley is in Peru, and Cordillera Blanca, which is the Peru highest mountain range, marks the very spine of South America. So Peru, I have told you, is in South America. So they were in the Jacamba Valley, where the largest mountain range kind of surrounded the valley, and Mark was always mesmerized by the scenic beauty, by the glaciers. Alright class, on page number 175 in paragraph 3, so it says over here that the projector wheeled up and came to my favorite photo. And what was the favorite photo? A huge fan-shaped glacier loomed over a small lake, iceberg. You might have seen the first photo on page number 174. So this was the photo which captures the author's, the writer's eyes. and it was a spectacular, it was an amazing sight. And his father kept a commentary. He had loved the place and had never forgotten it. And he says that but Mark says that it might not be the same now. And he cautioned, or he kind of state this statement kind of a caution to others too, because on the climbing visit to the Alps the previous years, he had been struck by the obviously rapidity of the glacier retreat, how the glaciers are melting, and became fascinated by the global warming. Mark had witnessed the you can say the events of melting of the glaciers, and looking at the picture which has always stayed in memory in his memory for a long period of time, he kind of made the statement that it might not be the same as now. As you can see in paragraph number 3, it's line number 6. So it was a the global warming is a profound process, and which our civilization seemed powerless or extremely unwilling to prevent, because it's a challenge which needs to be mitigated, but then it needs unified efforts. So in paragraph number 4, he says that my father was unconvinced. He did not want, he wasn't ready to buy this idea that the glaciers are melting. So he said perhaps, but that was a pretty big glacier. So because he was a geologist, and he was convinced of the idea that the glaciers need more time, hundreds and thousands of years to melt. And there were avalanches coming down all the time. Once a claving iceberg had fallen into the lake, causing huge waves that washed away half the expedition's equipment. So he says that if the glaciers move, they kind of make catastrophic changes as well. So still he mused, I wonder what does it look like now? Maybe it has changed. I looked at the screen and said nothing. I just had an idea. So his father was saying maybe there were some changes, and he wanted to go back and to see what kind of a changes the scene, or you can say the whole area is going through. So with this statement, Mark had an idea. So what his idea was, we're going to see in paragraph number 5. So this idea, that moment sitting over there celebrating Christmas and looking at the old memories of Peru and of the Jacamba Valley in the Cordillera Blanca, which is Peru's highest mountain range, and it is also the spine of South America, because South America is surrounded is a Peru is the third largest country in South America. So in paragraph number 5, that moment marked the beginning of a 3-year journey that would take me across 5 continents. So Mark started his 3-year journey to go across 5 continents in search for the signs of the global warming. And he was stunned what he had found. The changes were everywhere, and people were desperate to talk and to bring attention to their plight. Plight means misery in a world that seemed to be unraveling, means the world is changing, but leaders of the world are not ready to buy this idea, or they are unable to kind of put their finger on what if the global warming is real or not, or it's just a hoax. And of course, I also retraced my father's steps in Peru in order to one day come back with my own slide and answer his question. So his father had a question, and he thought that he said in paragraph number 4, I wonder what it does look like now. So he wanted to go back with his own slides, with his own picture of the place, to give answer to the question or the query of his father. So paragraph number 6 talks about Tuvalu. Tuvalu is in it's a South Pacific. It's a range of island. So he said that he had been in Tuvalu for only 2 days when the first puddle of water appeared at the side of the small airstrip. More puddles soon joined in. So he was just he had just he went to Tuvalu, and it was only in a matter of days when he kind of witnessed the signs of the global warming and how the island is sinking. The sea had welled up suddenly through thousands of tiny holes in this atolls. Atoll is a coral island consisting of reef. People gathered to watch the water flow down path around palm trees and into the back gardens. Within hours, it was knee deep in some places. So people were it had become sometime the water kind of rushes towards their garden. So it is a sea water, so it kind of destroys all the vegetation as well. And people are worried because the sea level is rising, and with every big tide or with every big wave, it kind of makes its ways to their houses and destroy their vegetation. So one of Tuvalu's increasingly regular submergence has begun. So submerging. So I want you to find out what is the meaning of the word submerge. So what is the meaning of the word submerge? What is your idea on it? In paragraph number 7, it says that a similar thing occurs most winters in Venus, but Venus has 1.6 billion pounds to spend on a system of protective floodgates. So flooding is there as well as in Tuvalu, but Tuvalu being a poor country cannot afford to build floodgates, but Venus has 1.6 billion pounds of donation which they are using to by making protective floodgates. So the sea water doesn't enter Venus, you can say inhabit, or it does not destroy or does not badly affect Venus population. Tuvalu is one of the world's smallest and most obscure nations. So it's a very poor country, very small, because it's only there are 10,000 people scattered across 9 tiny coral atolls. Atolls are I've told you before, are coral island. They are consisting of reef. So the sea level is rising there in a very it's making a crisis of national survival as well, and very little of Tuvalu is much more than 20 inches above the Pacific, and its coral bedrock is so porous, there are tiny pores in it, that no amount of coastal protection can save it. So what can be done to save these islands is no more than a dream, because the damage is so evident, and it's making the life on the island and the life of the people a living threat. Okay, in paragraph number 8, Professor Patrick Nunn, who is an ocean geologist at the University of South Pacific in Fiji, and he says that in coming 2 or 3 decades, Tuvalu and with other small islands will become uninhabitable and may disappear altogether by the end of the century. So whatever you can say efforts can be done, they are turning useless, because the damage is the damage is so crucial, the damage is so big that it cannot mend in any way. So please means request by the succession of Tuvalu's prime ministers and those of other atoll nations such as Kiribati and Maldives, ministers, leaders of these islands of Kiribati and Maldives are making pleas to the world leaders as to do something about save their people or give them nationalities in other countries for dramatic cuts and greenhouse, and they are also asking and pleading to cut greenhouse gas emission, who has been a very who has which has been a very has had a very deadly effect on global warming, and but it has been ignored by others. Who are those other? The more powerful states, the world leaders, and travelers will have to move, will have to migrate from there, or have to leave the island. Now in paragraph number 9, it says that the first batch of evacuees, 75 of them, is scheduled to migrate this year to New Zealand, and which is 2,000 miles to the south. But many of the older people say they will refuse to leave. because they have spent their life, they have given their energies, their life to their country. So they have a long association with their country and the love for their country. So they are not willing to remove from that island. So Turapi Luti, the first Prime Minister of Tuvalu, when it became an independent country, and because it was a British colony under imperialism until 1978, and he said that I want my children to be safe, and I'll tell them you leave so that the Tuvalans will still be living somewhere. So they carry the legacy with them. They carry the good legacy, the culture with them. But he says that I want to stay on this island and I will go down with Tuvalu. So all the old people, the you can say the politicians, or you get the leaders, the good leaders, the true leaders who have given their life and to their country, they want to stay there, because they say that if Tuvalu sinks, they will also sink with that. They will also go down with their country. So in paragraph number 10, the government officials are very angry. They are very dissatisfied with the world leaders. They are now angry with at the international community for the lack of responses, because they are not getting any response to their rescue call. So Pani Lupe, a senior official in the environmental ministry, told Mark, because Mark had interviewed him. Mark, who is Mark? Mark is the author and the writer of this article. That we are not, that they are not on the we are that they are on the front line of the climate change. The front line on the climate change means the most affected people, or the most affected country, through no fault of their own, because they are the one who are you can say are being the victim of all the consequences. And the industrialized countries has caused this problem, but we are suffering the consequences. So they are paying the price, and they are paying the price at the stake of their own, losing their own country. So in the last paragraph number 11, it says that Tuvalu have recently embarked on legal action to try to win compensation from the countries emitting most greenhouse gases. So they are kind of have put their case in front of the world leaders, in front of UN, and it's a kind of they are trying to kind of come to the point that they have to pay the price of the fault of others. But then it says over here, there's an interesting line at the end, but how do you put a price on the whole nation being relocated? So if they have to be relocated, so why they have to pay the price for it? And it's a very alarming question as well. So Lupe has asked this question, and how do you value a culture that is being wiped out? So there again, the last question is a critical thinking question, that how do you value a culture that is being wiped away? How people are going to remember, how they are going to endorse, how they are going to value the culture of a country, that country which is going to be wiped away from the map of the world. If even they kind of these people migrate and they find places in other parts of the world, would they able to be to carry on the legacy, the culture of their country, the country which is wiping, or which will be wiped away from the surface of this world. Alright student, now you have gone through the text. Now we are going to do a task of words meaning and using the words in sentences. So I want you to find the meanings of these words from dictionary, or you can Google search it and make meaningful sentences and write them down in your notebook. So you have to do it in your notebooks. Make or prepare page, write the topic, date, classwork, and then start your work with finding meanings of these words. The first word is customary, the second word is negotiation, the third word is spectacular, Fourth word is quotient. The fifth word is equipment. The sixth word is mused. The second word is obscure. The eighth word is decayed. The ninth word is protection. The 10th word is rapidly. And the word of today is submerge. So I want you to also find the meaning of submerge and send in your voice note in your groups what do you understand by the word submerge and what are your thoughts on the sinking islands of Tuvalu. So if you have read the text, also find or watch a short documentary on Tuvalu. I will share its link with you and watch the video and let me know of your thoughts through voice notes. What is your what are your thoughts on the sinking islands? Okay. Alright class, I want you to read page number 174 to 175, paragraph number 1 to 2. It's 1 to 3, sorry, and answer these questions and write them in your notebook. These are some questions which you have to read the text and then answer it in your own words. So the first question is, where did the author went to spend his Christmas? Write the name of the place. And the second question is, describe Jacobamba as in the text. What, like in page number 174, how is Jacobamba described? And then question number 3 is, when and how was the author fascinated by global warming, from paragraph 3. So find out. The first question is from the text. Second is a little bit that you have to write from the text and your own. And the third question is, read paragraph number 3 and in your own words, how was the author fascinated by global warming? Do it in your neat copies. This is your classwork and you have time. If you have any questions about it, you can ask in your voice note. Alright class, in the last, this is something I have chosen, a very short documentary of Tuvalu, a sea level rise in the Pacific and the loss of land and culture. So it will give you an idea of what you have read so far in the text and adding to your information. I hope you have enjoyed today's lesson. We'll see you tomorrow with this lesson and related exercises. Take care of yourself, do your work in your notebooks and stay connected. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.